going to have the opportunity to practice what you already know you're saying. That's not how language works, is it? So you want to be adopting these methods while creating, while speaking. So from the get-go, ouais, c'est intéressant que vous vous soyez rencontrés à la fac. You need to have the humanity in it from the beginning. Don't be like, oh, Luke's a real funny one. You know, he really pushes on accent. No, I'm getting you to do this so that the melody, the tunes for you obviously, but like the tunes for us of like the of what you're saying are gonna jump into your head through being human. Yeah. So go. Oh, it's weird that you met at university.
C'est intéressant que vous soyez.
Oh my God! I just have to stop you and say well done. For fuck's sake, why would you not want to sound like that all the time? Great. Also, on a side note, notice the humanity pushed through your diaphragm, notice that the air came out, and notice what a fast little fucker you were when you were speaking. You were really speaking quickly. Ouais, c'est intéressant que vous vous soyez. And your lips stayed together. I didn't have c'est intéressant que vous vous soyez. I didn't have any of that. Great. Good. Carry on. So, case in point then, in Roundup, we've acknowledged that reflexive verbs can have, yeah. And also, Ian, they could go into serais as well. Je me serais. Yeah. You know, great. Okay.
Okay, I have a question. Wait.
Cool. Fire away, as many as you want.
So, if I'm in the subjunctive mood, and so you know how we have, you can say like the pluperfect in the past tense, like je m'étais lavé or je me suis lavé. Would the sois change that?
It's really interesting that you ask this question. C'est très intéressant que tu poses cette question. I was just talking about that with Adrian, who's a really like nice friend. I've taught him for a while. J'en parlais avec Adrien, c'est une bonne amie, il est super sympa. Ça fait 7 mois que je bosse avec lui. Basically, so a lot of the time, commonly, it will still go to the subjunctive with a standard auxiliary from the passé composé, and it will deal with it, and you will know. So it's I'm happy he left. I was happy he had left. Enfin, j'étais content qu'il soit pas. You'd still use that standard one in oral French quite a lot. If there's any form of the auxiliary that is not in the present, because by definition there is only one tense of the subjunctive. You've got the present. You've got the subjunctive mood for present tense, and you've got the present tense of the. I'm thinking Italian. You've got the present tense of the auxiliary being used to create a subjunctive past. They're the only two tenses you can do subjunctive in. So sometimes the two things will go in different directions. Sometimes you'll spill that mood over into other things and you will just stick to the same one. Or some people will be thinking of it as like, well, it's just for the present tense, so I'm going to go into... So you do sometimes hear, not always correctly, but you do sometimes hear people jump ship. So they'll say like, oh, moi j'étais content qu'elle était partie or something like that. But it's better to stick to what you've got, qu'elle soit partie. Likewise in the will, you know, it's fantastic he will come. It's fantastic he will come. You want to translate that in English. He will come. You know, c'est fantastique qu'il vienne. You take it back into the present. You take it. So there are. What you're basically saying is, Luke, if I'm faced with a subordinate clause, that's the one that has the subjunctive verb in it, which doesn't massively resemble present or present perfect, i.e. passé composé. Do I still use the subjunctive, or do I need to do some other shit? That's basically what you're asking. And I'm saying, where possible, you will stick it in the subjunctive, but you do hear people dropping into other things, correctly and incorrectly. But watch this space, because I'm going to do a massive video on that for Adrian. It's really freaky that you said that. It's really, really freaky. Right, good, so keep going for me. I was a little bit embarrassed because Wendy's husband followed us. Wendy's my lovely friend that came to meet me, my student. So I was a little bit embarrassed because Wendy's husband followed us.
J'étais un peu gêné parce que le mari de Wendy nous suivait.
Followed. Right, if I was ever working with you in person, si je bossais jamais avec toi en personne, face à face, the first thing I would do, la première chose que je ferais, I would make you turn around, okay, tu ferais demi-tour, and I put my hand on your back, et je mettrais la main sur le dos, sur ton dos, and I would get you to speak demanderais de parler, and every time you said a passé composé, I would go bum bum bum. Yeah? Every time you said a passé composé, I'd go bum bum bum. You said in the past. So if you went, yeah, so yesterday I rang Miriam, bum bum bum. So what you really got to get into is this: whenever you're going into the past, bum bum bum, bum bum bum, bum bum bum. And what that ultimately means is auxiliary. That means auxiliary. So Wendy's husband followed us. You're a big boy now. Just because I'm throwing in an us, who gives a shit? You still absolutely go for that auxiliary. So if I gave you Wendy's husband followed, you'd know it. If I gave you Wendy's husband followed us, Wendy's husband follows us, you get the word order. So I need from you now, I need the us has followed. I need the auxiliary as well as standard. Off you go. So Wendy's husband followed us.
Le mari de Wendy nous a suivis.
Good. And let me hear the clarity in the auxiliary.
Le mari de Wendy nous a suivis.
Lovely. So I don't need a lot of time on it, nous a suivis, but I need to hear the clarity. Okay? Good. Notice the difference between parce que and que. Okay, so I was embarrassed. So j'étais embarrassé, or j'avais honte. Lovely. Because Wendy's husband followed us, and I was like, oh my god, the poor guy, he's got to listen to us in French for 4 hours, but he was quite happy to. Lovely guy. So if it was I was embarrassed that Wendy's husband followed us, notice that would be j'étais or j'avais honte que le mari de Wendy nous ait suivis. That would go subjunctive, wouldn't it? Yeah, because it's a que. Notice the absolute tiny change. I was embarrassed because that's not going to generate the subjunctive. Yeah, so parce que versus que. Can you see what I'm on about? Yeah, so j'étais embarrassé. It's a bit franglais. J'avais honte que le mari de Wendy nous ait suivis, ou j'avais honte parce que le mari de Wendy nous a suivis. That would be different, okay?
So it's also the subjunctive trigger not only because of the ka, but also because of the feeling before, right? Like having.
But. It is nothing to do with the que. Que is something to be mindful of for the subjunctive, but that ain't a subjunctive. Okay, how do you say I think Ian is lovely? How do you say I think that Ian is lovely?
Je pense que Ian est charmant.
Yeah, je pense que Ian est sympa, il est adorable. Okay, il est formidable, ce mec. There's no... Just because I've got person one verb, que, person two verb, it's not always going to be subjunctive. I dare say that it means you should be vigilant. Yeah? But it's not automatic, and that's a common error. That's a common thing, okay? Je pense que c'est intéressant que tu sois... No. Yes, because of c'est intéressant, but not because of je pense que, not because of the que. Yeah, that kicked in because of the interesting, all right? Okay, so, good. After having walked for 5 hours...
Après avoir marché pendant 5 heures.
Lovely, après avoir marché, using the verb se promener. Can you give me after having walked for 5 hours?
Okay. Après savoir.
Pause.
Right.
Let's go in stages. Although again, my theme for today is we shouldn't need the stages. I don't.
Right.
What I mean by that, it's not like Luke's theme for today is to bollock Ian and tell him off. No, what I mean is your mind needs to think I'm going to need that and I'm going to need that and I'm going to come up with a tune that's going to involve both of those. That's what I'm saying. It's not like, oh, you need to know this by now. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying just acknowledge that you're going to need that bit and you know the melody where they come together. So, say for me after eating, 3 words.
Après avoir mangé.
Good job. Say after staying, which is an être verb.
Oh yeah. Okay, here we go. All right. Après. Oh, sorry. Après être resté.
Pause. What's your little cheat there? Après avoir, après être. So it's going to help you remember the auxiliary. Off you go.
Après être resté.
Say after dying.
Après être mort. Oui.
Mort. Après être mort, or après être morte if it was a female. Great. So we've acknowledged if we were to then go and shove in a pronoun. So say for me after eating. Again, one more time after eating.
Après avoir mangé.
Say after eating it.
Après avoir mangé.
Say it again.
Après l'avoir mangé.
Great, so we lost the ze. But let's just acknowledge then that the pronoun went before the infinitive went before the auxiliary. Everything it does normally, je l'ai, whatever, okay, and also an infinitive. So we've got the two rules that we normally use, but they're coming together there. We don't normally have those together, do we? All right, but both of them back it up. The pronoun will go before the avoir or the whatever, before the infinitive. So if I've got the sentence après être plus some past, and I've acknowledged that pronouns go before my infinitive, how would you say after getting washed, talking about myself?
Après m'être lavé.
Thank you. So not as common and slightly a higher register, slightly a higher, speak English, Luke, a slightly higher register in French. But say for me after speaking to each other.
Après, non.
Yeah, or après nous être parlé, yeah? Yeah.
Après nous être parlé. Okay,
because it's reflexive. Because think about it. Nous nous sommes parlé. Après nous être parlé. After speaking to each other. Right. You could also say après nous avoir parlé if the dude or the chick that came after that was then going to be someone else. So after speaking to us,
okay.
John shaved his head. Whatever. You know. Après nous avoir parlé, John s'est rasé la tête. Say for me, so John s'est rasé la tête, reflexive and a the for the body part. Say for me, after shaving his head, Ian went for a swim.
Okay. Après s'être.
Finish it off.
Yeah, so but the s'être, you can distinguish that because it's not a z sound, it's a sound,
yes.
right?
In one.
Okay.
In one.
Okay. Après s'être rasé, Ian.
Après s'être, that's after shaving his head. So I gave you s'est rasé la tête. After shaving his head, Ian went for a swim.
Ian.
No. I haven't heard after shaving his head. I've just heard after having had a shave. After shaving his head. Go.
Après s'être rasé la tête.
Good.
Ian.
So why am I saying that? I'm reminding you that with body parts, you will often use for yourself or for other people. You will use a pronoun to indicate ownership. Well, not ownership, but whose it is. Yeah?
Right.
So,
yeah.
I massaged your feet. Je t'ai massé les pieds. The coach massaged his thigh. He had cramp. You know, l'entraîneur lui a massé, whatever, les cuisses, the thighs, okay? So the fact is that the lui, in that case, for the to, yeah, to somebody, but the pronoun is going to say whose body part it is. I broke my leg. How do you say I broke my leg?
J'ai cassé le jambe.
Because if I went with your method, if I went with j'ai cassé, how am I then going to show whose leg it is? I'd be obliged to use a possessive, wouldn't I?
Right. Je me suis blessé.
Yeah, but that would be correct. I hurt myself, but the verb we're on about is I cassé. So go on. So je me.
Would it be je me suis...
We're in cassé, and I've just told you that the pronoun is how I'm going to show you who's doing it. So what that has just created, don't work classically like, oh, the reflexive verb to do this, I'm going to stick it in the past. We are in a situation where a normal verb now is going to have a pronoun, and we're now going in the past. So that is going to tell me that I'm going to have to do something I know how to do very well. I don't need to have learnt it from the get-go as this is a reflexive verb and now I'm going to stick it in the past. There are all kinds of verbs that aren't reflexive verbs. How do you say that you can make reflexive? How do you say I bought myself a beer?
Je m'ai acheté une bière.
Je m'ai?
Oh, no, it's not that. Je m'ai...
No?
No, what am I talking about? No, that's
so
not
let
right.
me tell you why this is happening. Let me tell you why this is happening. Because this is not in your mind a reflexive verb.
Yeah.
Yeah? If you're choosing to do it to yourself, it's fucking become reflexive. Which means what? What auxiliary?
Être.
Good. I bought myself a beer. Go.
Je me suis acheté une bière.
Lovely. Je me suis acheté une petite bière. You know, I bought myself a little beer. Fine. You know, that's French. Okay? I bought myself some.
Je m'en suis acheté.
Yeah, je m'en suis acheté. Lovely. Yeah, okay. I broke my leg.
Okay. Je me suis cassé la jambe.
Je me suis cassé la jambe. La jambe.
Ah.
Yeah, okay. So what are we saying here? We're saying... Oh, I've lost your microphone. What are you saying?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, that's better. What are we saying?
So in this form, how come this doesn't follow the faire and then